So the state of Israel is still mulling on its response to the Iranian missile reprisal that happened last week. But it has intensified its campaign of bombings in the Gaza Strip and Lebanon. What is interesting is that the American President Joe Biden has urged the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to try and minimize harm to the civilians in Lebanon, even as the American president has been sending more and more weapons to Israel. The two leaders held a phone call that lasted for about 30 minutes. The White House claims that the call was direct and very productive. Although how productive it was, what does it mean in concrete terms is not clear. It is also added that Biden and Netanyahu have also agreed to stay in close contact in the coming days. The United States has asserted that they will not see Lebanon turn into another Gaza Strip. This even as the American President Biden reaffirmed Israeli right to defend itself in the manner that it has been doing so far. Now, this call was the very first one that the two leaders had in nearly 2 months, but the Americans have been sending weapons to Israel even in the interim. Now, this call reportedly came amidst mounting pressure from Washington for Israel to not strike at Iran's nuclear facilities. The Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has meanwhile promised that an Israeli attack against Iran will be lethal, it will be precise, and it will be very surprising. The Gallant was due to discuss Israel's response in Washington on Wednesday before the last-minute postponement of his visit by Netanyahu. After the Biden-Netanyahu call ended, Gallant issued a video statement describing Iran's 1st of October missile reprisal as a failure. The Israeli defense minister warned that whoever attacks Israel will be hurt and will end up paying a price. But this, of course, was the Iranian missile attack, where several of these missiles were seen smashing into the target that they were meant for.
Now you've seen the attacks that the Iranians attacked us a short while ago. These attacks were aggressive, but they failed because they weren't accurate attacks. Just as we have been doing until now in the war on all other fronts, whoever attacks us will be hurt and will pay a price. Our attack will be deadly, precise, and above all surprising. They will not understand what happened and how it happened. They will see the results.
So as repeated threats reinforce fears that Israel and Hezbollah are on the verge, they are fighting an all-out war, the American State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller has said that implementation of the UNSC Resolution 1701 is, believe it or not, a priority for the Americans. At a time of heightened tensions, the United Nations and the diplomatic officials have all turned to the 2006 resolution in a bid to end the conflict. And the Americans claim, even as they send more weapons to the conflict zone in Israel, that the Americans are working tirelessly to bring about some kind of a ceasefire.
To be clear, when we say that we want to see 1701 implemented, that includes all the provisions of 1701. It doesn't just mean the provisions that apply to Hezbollah. It means Israel withdrawing south of the blue line as well. We want to see every provision implemented.
The United Nations officials have warned that Lebanon is staring at a catastrophic humanitarian crisis as the number of internally displaced people has now hit 1.2 million. Now, Hezbollah has said that its fighters are locked in some pitched battles with the invading Israeli troops in southern Lebanon. They're using rocket-propelled grenades to try and repel the Israeli invasion with tanks. Meanwhile, the RDF has announced the death of one more of its reserve soldier, Ronnie Ganizate, during its invasion in southern Lebanon. The Ganizate is the 12th Israeli soldier who has been killed in the pitched battles with Hezbollah. Now, according to the RDF, this has raised the toll of the soldiers who have been killed in the Israeli wars since the 7th of October to 731. And we earlier spoke with David Menzer, who's a spokesperson of the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. We asked him whether Biden and Netanyahu are on the same page when it comes to the Israeli response. Now, here's what he had to say.
Well, we in the Israeli government don't like the word response. We prefer the word defense. We were attacked last Tuesday by the largest ballistic missile attack ever in the history of mankind. 101 missiles which sent almost all of Israel's 9 or 10 million people into bomb shelters. We have a duty to defend ourselves. We have a right to defend ourselves. Our Prime Minister has made crystal clear that Israel is able to reach everywhere in Iran, and we will defend ourselves. Of that you can be sure.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.